Looking for a place where everyone in your family can thrive? The Jewish Community Center of Greater Albuquerque is your local hub for wellness, learning, and connection. Whether it's our state-of-the-art fitness center, early childhood programs, or vibrant cultural events, there's something for everyone. Everyone is welcome at the JCC. Join us and be part of a diverse community that supports your whole family's growth and happiness. Visit jccabq.org to learn more.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Good News Conversations here on the Albuquerque Journal Podcast Network. I'm your host, Good News reporter Gino Gutierrez, coming this week with a very unique interview, our first out of Albuquerque, I guess you can say, episode, and I'm very pleased to welcome Tahlia Natachu-Eriacho, who is the Executive Director of the Zuni Youth Enrichment Project. Tahlia, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It really means a lot.
And Tahlia, I'm really excited to dive into this week's episode because you are the leader of a very unique program that is influencing the youth of one of the cornerstone indigenous tribes we have here in New Mexico, the Zuni Pueblo. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Enrichment Project is and how it got started?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that introduction. It's one of the nicest we've had. Yeah, very, very blessed to be in this position. I actually grew up in the program. So Zuni Youth Enrichment Project was founded as a nonprofit back in 2009, and it started as a simple summer camp. We had pediatricians, we had teachers, we had museum curators, we had farmers, artists, just all sorts of people from Zuni Pueblo come together and agree that our kids needed opportunities to understand why they're so special, what the strengths of our community had, and how it could pull their potential out. Because, I mean, it's not a secret that, unfortunately, like many other indigenous communities, we have, heightened rates of different health disparities. I believe that Zuni Pueblo has like diabetes rates that are 6 times the national average. We have mental health issues and substance misuse issues, poverty, overweight, obesity, all of those horrible things that can really put a community down. But we continue to be resilient, and it's because of our youth, and it's because of our culture, and because of just that sense of community that we have. And so those amazing leaders back in 2009 came together and said, we need to, jump on this opportunity. And so they created a summer camp program. And I got to be one of those first summer camp counselors. They really, really intentional about wanting to create intergenerational relationships. So my mentor was one of the people that led the summer camp program. And then I got to mentor youth that were younger than me. And so I found a sense of like purpose and just like, again, felt a sense of belonging through that experience. And I stayed connected. I was inspired to become a teacher because of the people I got connected with. And I was like, our kids are so cool. I love them. So I became a teacher. And then went back to the program, and now am getting to, be in this position because everyone that's worked in ZYP ends up coming back around. They want to give back. And that was why I was like, I can be a teacher. I can go back to classroom, but I need to give back to the organization that helped raise me. And it's been really amazing to just see how we've grown since 2009 to today. So now we're offering year-round programming, ranging from, of course, we have that flagship program of the summer camp, but then we have sports leagues, art apprenticeships, farming initiative, just everything. We're in school, we're after school, we're in the summer. It's been really, really fun. And we're from that 20-person summer camp, now we're serving nearly 1,000 youth annually. And I think we really emphasize the fact that all of this is free of charge. We do not charge for any of our programs because we believe in making sure that these enriching programs are equitably accessible to our community.
And one of the most amazing parts, Tahlia, that I came across when I was researching the program, and you touched on a little bit as well, is this intergenerational connection that you guys are building. When I got the email a couple weeks ago when you guys announced the completion of your summer camp over the this past year, one thing that was really stressed is it's not only impactful for the campers that are there or the children that are enrolled in your program, but also for the counselors as well. And your story is kind of an example of that. You started as a counselor, came back to the program, are now the executive director. How important is it to foster those intergenerational connections, especially for these kids in a program that is not only looking to enrich them through arts and physical activity and things of that nature, but also culturally as well?
Yes, exactly. So that is the key to like almost everything, and at every level, at the individual level, that's where a youth who gets to, foster those relationships, they begin to understand like, cool, I have a purpose. I have somebody who's going to guide me. They start to feel more connected to their community, and that person's going to flourish, right? So there's that. And then at the organizational level, we have people who are coming back and trying to recreate the experiences that they had. And then that just builds on the power of like the ZYEP way, right? We have people coming back trying to just replicate the magic that happened. And it comes back like tenfold because now the team that I'm working with, oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're incredible. And they all have some connection to ZYEP. And then at the community level, those intergenerational relationships are really what's going to make sure that our culture, our religion, our way of life continue. Um, like, again, like a lot of other indigenous communities, there's that pressure of contemporary modern world, not everybody here is fluently speaks Zuni anymore. There are the pressures of like outside world technology, but it's those intergenerational relationships that keep us connected to the past, but still thinking about the future. How are we still going to thrive, but in like a really culturally rooted way? So I think that these opportunities, as simple as they seem, are actually really, really important. We have a program called the Delapnawe Project, and that's where we host a theater production, but we use traditional oral stories as like the script, and that's bringing our elders and our youth together to be able to just like thrive in an environment that is conducive to that. And I think that's all we try to be. We're not claiming to be the solve all. We're not the solution. It's not one person. This has been 16 years of people's heart pouring into this, and us just facilitating the moment. So it's been a real privilege. I've learned so much.
Yeah, and it again, I probably have mentioned it a couple times, but the more I read about it, the more I was just kind of taken by just how unique the program seems to be in terms of connecting with the youth. But as far as what the campers did in the summer camp, or the kids that are enrolled in the year round, what kind of activities are they doing?
Yeah. So summer camp is kind of like the activity that shows everything that ZYEP is. So in summer camp, they're doing activities from physical activity, food sovereignty, art, connect to land, built environment, and youth development. And all those subjects that are happening within summer camp are actually our department areas. So within all of those 6 departments are our own programs. So we now have an after school program. I just mentioned the Delapnawa project. We have a garden and rain harvest initiative. And our food sovereignty team does nutrition demos. And basically we're teaching our kids that if we're nourished by our traditional foods, we can thrive. So again, that's a year-round kind of initiative there. We have art apprenticeships where we're connecting renowned Zuni artists, and they get to mentor the youth that want to, get better at being the artists that they are. But it's really incredible because 80% of Zuni community members are self-employed artists. They make part, if not all, of their income on their art. And so we saw that opportunity as like, yes, art is super important. Let's help them refine their skills, but it's also a vehicle to help, I guess, communicate our culture. And then it also is building the next kind of socioeconomic status, as our kids are becoming like well-grounded and informed entrepreneurs. So there's all of that. Sports leagues, basketball, flag football, soccer, t-ball, like all very, very popular with our kids. Connect to land. We're going out to different culturally significant sites and camping because we want to make outdoor recreation equitable, because it's not always something that's in like BIPOC communities, but we're very much entitled to be there, you know? So when we get to visit, we're learning how to camp, we're learning how to be outside, but also recognizing that this isn't just a little vacation, like you're going and you're respecting the land, and we recognize why it's important to be there. So yeah, the list goes on. And I think,
Yeah.
we're finding our sweet spot, though. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and it sounds like the kids get a little bit of everything. For any of our listeners, I don't know if any of them have ever driven through Zuni. They are, the land out there is beautiful. I mean, there's no end to the spots for camping or anything like that. So I'm sure the kids have a blast anytime they get to go outside, especially I would imagine for the parents as well of the kids enrolled in the program. It's awesome because their kids get outside. They're not behind a phone screen. They're not behind a tablet screen. They're getting to engage not only with the land or with activities, but with their fellow kids as well. And I'm sure that does wonders for them.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. We talk about being the Zuni Youth Enrichment Project, but families are just as important because the importance of that continuous support for our kids. If they're just coming to our programs and getting this enrichment and then going home to, it stops at the door, it's not going to make the impact that it does. So we're always connecting to the family, saying like, hey, how can we reinforce these values at ZYP, at home, and at school?
Which is fantastic because, like you mentioned, Tahlia, it extends beyond just when they leave the program doors. When I was going through the email about the summer program, one thing that really struck me was the kids. You guys talked to a few of the kids about, what was your experience like? And a lot of them had an overwhelming positive experience. I'm sure you get to, talk to these kiddos on a daily basis, kind of hear their stories, how they're interacting with the program. How important is their input into what you guys are doing moving forward for programs and the way they kind of interact with it?
Oh my gosh, it's everything. if they think it's not fun, they're not showing up, right? And then we have no purpose. Yeah, that we're constantly putting out surveys, like pre and post evaluations, and then those informal forms of evaluation where we're like, hey, how's it going? What was fun? What was your favorite thing? What would you change? So we take a culmination of all those different surveys and just forms of evaluation. And then we ask ourselves, are we still meeting the needs? Are we still fun? Something that's really a good check is when we have our board meetings, our board members, especially one of our founders, Dr. Tom Faber, he'll continue to ask, like, is it fun? Are the kids having fun? So even though we're trying to make this really important health work and wellness work happen, like if the kids aren't having fun, it doesn't really matter. A part of ZYAP's model and approach is we're inspired by the self-determination theory. So we want our kids to build this intrinsic motivation to enjoy these healthy habits that we're trying to teach them. They're connecting the fun experience to like, oh, this is actually good for me. And then that means that they'll do it beyond our program. They'll continue to do it as an adult. They'll bring it into their family. They'll teach their kids. And then that's where you create that generational change.
That's fantastic. I know this is always hard. I've asked a few guests this in the past, and they always kind of, struggle a little bit. But if you could crystal ball where you think the program will be in the next 5 or 10 years, where do you see it going?
I ask myself this every single morning. No, the team that we have right now, we've actually been really intentional about having that conversation because it's incredible that we have been around for this long. I mean, nonprofits in general, but then us really being isolated in the Zuni Pueblo and what we're doing, and the fact that we're free of charge, and we are like 97% grant funded. So there's a little bit of that operational side, but also that programmatic side of like, how do we keep meeting the needs? And then how do we keep meeting the operational needs, right? So we do really envision setting a solid foundation for the next leaders to come. We're never thinking about ourselves. It's like, cool, the next youth that are coming in, how are they going to continue this? And we're really solidifying like, what are the core programs that have become staples in our children's experience of growing up in Zuni? And we're just making sure that those are solid. We have solid curriculums. We have solid like streams of revenue to make sure that those are funded, and that we have solid partnerships. So I think right now, this does not sound exciting, but the future looks like sustainability, and the future looks like something that is just, a solid plan. And once we have that space to say like, cool, we know where we're at, we're grounded, that's where that room for growth and dreaming comes in. Because I really do think ZYEP was all dreams and love and just energy, for sure. And we want to keep that, but also reinforce it with a sense of grounding.
Fantastic. And I know you said you're about 97% grant funded, so that leaves 3%. I know there's a donation button on your guys' website. For our listeners who are interested in helping make a donation to keep the program going, how do they do that?
They can go to our website, check out our social media. We're pretty active on social media if you want to just see what we're up to. If you go to our website, there's a donate button like right at the top of the corner, and that's there. And that's always so appreciated.
And last question for you, Tahlia, before I let you go. You have gone from counselor to now executive director. You've seen the program grow basically throughout its entirety. I'm curious for you, what's been the highlight of your experience with this program? Probably hard to nail down one point, but if you could kind of talk about anything in particular, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what it is. And I used to think it was really selfish, but it's actually a part of our model. So the moment that my son joined his first ZYEP program, I was in the car crying with him. And he was just like, "What? Why aren't we at T-ball practice yet?" It was this full circle feeling, because growing up through the program, knowing what it did for me, and just the doors of opportunities that it opened and the experiences that I got. And then knowing that my son has that opportunity to experience the same thing, and that like, it's still like, I'm also a part of it. It just feels like it's a family tradition. And at first, like I said, I thought it was selfish to think that, but I'm like, no, that's what we're trying to recreate for all families in Zuni. So I want everyone to feel that, and know that, they're not alone in raising our children. They're not alone in, making sure that our really, really special culture and community continue. We all have a hand in that.
Fantastic. Tahlia, thank you so much for joining me, speaking a little bit more in depth about what the Zuni Youth Enrichment Project is doing, and, spending a few minutes with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This meant so much.
Thank you for joining us. You can find this episode and all our podcasts on the Albuquerque Journal website, abqjournal.com, as well as on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. If you enjoy our podcasts, please like and subscribe, and consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Albuquerque Journal to help us continue to bring you more content like this. See the show notes for a discount on a digital subscription. Thank you for supporting the Albuquerque Journal, New Mexico's leading local news source.